Well, you just saved me from about a little while without any sound. Jeez. And it's not even a Monday. Okay, so here I am. It's Walk the Welcome. Welcome to Walk the Web, and I'm Dr. Aaron Dishno. And today I'm going to be working on a paintball game. I started it before. It takes advantage of a lot of pieces of our different program, but yeah, it is nice that we have sound now, and thank you for that. I do appreciate it. You know what? That one was, it's just one of those days. Have you ever just had one of those days? Let me see. Well, basically, okay, I'm off to a better start now that I turned the sound on. Helps if I don't have my microphone muted, huh? But should have been something I glanced at. I didn't. Blame myself on that one. But I do appreciate that, YouTube admin, and thanks for getting me on track. It'd have been a long hour if I did the whole thing and then basically found out I didn't have sound turned on. So much better now that I'm doing that. So right off, let's get back into the program and start playing around with some Blender. This is what I've created so far. We did this little building over here the other day, and that was the main complex we did a week ago or whatever that was. And I'm going to continue working on some of these different sections and see if we can't build them up. By the way, these paths in between are just a kind of a guide. They will be replaced by actual constructed elements, so I'm not expecting that to be the final product in any way. Right now it gives me a way to run between the different items that I'm creating. Gives me an area of where I'll be placing different things. Yeah, just kind of builds it up a little bit. And also, so you see it, this is where I'm kind of getting my inspiration from. It is not going to be exactly like this or anything. I'm just I like the concept. I like how it has little separate buildings, and it has these paths in between, and there's ways to walk underneath them and over the top, and there's some areas with stairs, and there's some areas with ramps, and just different rails so you can go from one thing to the next or whatever. I'm just kind of using this as inspiration while I work on it. So hopefully that gets us someplace, and I'll see what I can do. Okay. So jumping right in, let's pick on something in the corner here. I'm going to want some type of building or something underneath this little box in the corner. So let me move that direction and see what we can do. If I select it and mesh, let's see, snap to cursor to selected. Oh, actually here, I don't know why I must have this scene set where it doesn't default with this turned on, but there we go. Now we have the scene, the screen keys, so you can see what I'm doing on that. Oh, the other thing I like to do is if I move on the screen, I'm going to kind of adjust this a little bit. If I take these sections, I'm just going to glide those over a little bit and move them onto the actual scene. I think it helps because if I'm off of this section of the page over here, then you can see the properties that I set as I do things. And I think it interferes a little less when I'm in this section. So, okay, little adjustment to that, and we'll get back to it. Okay, so I'm going to take this section, and I've selected the cursor on it. Let's just go ahead and add a cube to start with. It's a very tiny cube. We're going to make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, that's better. And I'm not even going to worry about the shape of the cube or anything like that. In fact, let's see. How big is that section? 15. I don't know. Let's go 20. Let's see how big that is. Okay, there we go. And now I'm going to take that GZ and I'm going to drop it down to the floor level, which should be basically a rounded number, minus 20. That looks like it's on the ground. We'll find out when we get working with it here. The next thing, let me grab the top here. I want to know about how high I'm working with, and that should be at right there. Okay, so that gives me the start of where this is and gives me the idea of where this piece is that this ramp came to. Like I said, I'm going to remove the ramp afterwards, so I really, in fact, I don't really need it here. The easiest way to do that would be select. I know it's not going to be very easy to find it with that piece there. Let me back that off one. Now if I grab this, let's go to points. I just want that back point right there, and if I delete it, the vertice, now it's not in the way, and I can always find these points. So take the top of this, GZ, and we're going to go up to about there, which is should be 10. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is if that matches the size of what's there, I'm actually going to make it a little bit bigger because I need to be able to zoom in and out of it and catch it from all angles and stuff. So let's see if I... Okay, so let me see here. First, I'm going to go back to the wireframe view so I can actually see what I'm working with. See, I'm a little bit off the wall, which is a good sign. Let me scale this box. Oops, highlight the whole box. And then I'm going to scale this box, but I don't want to get any taller. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger to just about the wall. I'm going to call it 1.2. Okay, so now from there, I should be able to start building up something out of this. For starters, let's see, do I want it where you can pass through it? I guess I could pass through it so that it becomes a little tunnel through here to run through this edge. You can get behind it and kind of peek out this side, or I can make it where it goes. Do I want it to fight this way or that way? I got to think about what I want to do, but let's go ahead and cut it. So I'm going to take this, divide it in two, and from the center there, I'm going to scale out, scale Shift Z so it doesn't go higher. Oh, wait. I just want to scale, what direction is that? X. Scale X direction from there, and I'm going to pull it and make it a bit wider like that. 1.7. Okay, and then I'm going to do a loop cut this side. And I just need one. I'm going to bring it up around so we get a little bit of a top of a door. We don't need it too high. Minus 0.8 gets it up there. Actually, it is pretty high, but that's fine. And then I want the inside to be a little bit narrower than the outside, so there's a little bit of a lip from the inside is what I'm planning. Easiest way to do that is a loop cut from this side, 2, and scale Y direction, stretch those out a bit, and that should also be about, let's go 2. Okay, and from there, what I've created is well, let me see. I kind of have that on the wrong piece there. It should have been there, but that's fine. I'm going to scroll in here a little bit. Make sure I'm working in the right area. Oops. Yeah, let's just move the screen down a bit. There we go. And what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to select this point and, where'd it go? That point. No, that isn't the one I want. Need to get it from just the right angle so I can see it. First, I want this to there, and I'm going to click F so that it creates a line there, and then I need to go what's the easiest way to split? Well, I can just split that line. Yeah, I'll just split that line. That kind of makes it a little bit easier to do. And subdivide it. And number of cuts. Well, I could do 2. There we go. There we go. There's a segment there. I think I need this back one also. I know I keep getting closer to the screen, like you want to see me that close, huh? There's there. Take this line and I'm going to subdivide that, subdivide into 2 cuts there. And now to make the different pieces match up, if I take this line here, the Y value of it, that's the item, the Y value of this line, and set it the same for this dot vertex. I should call it by its proper name, right? And then this one, take the Y value and set this one to that same Y value. And I'm going to move this one to that same Y value. And I should have done the same thing for this one. Take the Y value and put it on this dot. Okay, so now I've got a little bit of a structure here, and I'm going to create a line there, 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 and there. By subdividing these faces and creating that in those places, now what I have the option to do is to actually create some sort of indentation in that area. I'm going to start by creating a face between these, oops, not that one, and that point. Now I have this face selected, basically. No, I don't. There is no face there, that's why. I should have created the face. Oops, let me back up. There we go, those 4 are connected. I'm going to create the face. And now I'm going to select that face and I'm going to extrude in the X direction and pull it this way about, I'm going to go pretty good here. I want it to go about 3.5. And on the other side, going to do the same thing so that it has a little bit of an inside of the cube. We'll grab points. There, 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 and there. Create a face, and then extrude the X direction, bring it back this way to -3.5. That matches the other side. And that will give us the faces of each section all the way around it. And that gives us a little bit of a design there. I'm going to take this face, delete face only, and this one, delete face only. The other part is I don't need pieces matching up against the ground because I'm going to use the ground of the scene in this particular thing. So I can clear these out of here. Which means clearing out a little bit of this stuff. Did I get the right one? Yeah. And I'm going to leave the edges there for a minute in case I need to do something with them. I probably am going to do it. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so basically I am creating a paintball arena to use in Babylon gaming system. And basically it's using Blender to create the scene. And then, like I said, I drop it into my WalkTheWeb scene, which technically is using exactly that. It is using it's using Babylon behind it. So I've already created this framework using Babylon, and then I can just use my media library objects and drop the paintball scene right in here. I can even do updates to it. I could apply the animation and everything. So I've already coded it to do all those pieces, and basically I'm creating a 3D CMS for Babylon objects, so we can actually put them together, create scenes, and create animations and everything else. And it'll include the avatars, the movement, the multiplayer by the time I'm done. Everything will be included right into WalkTheWeb, and all you have to do is drop your scenes in and your gameplay code, and you'd be able to create games on the fly pretty easy by then. So that's the plan. That's where I'm heading, and that's the different pieces. Also, you can download from WalkTheWeb from GitHub. So WalkTheWeb, it's http://walktheweb. And it's open source, so you're always welcome to give it a shot. Okay, so from here, let's see what else I have to do. Let's close out some walls here. I know I'm kind of working this way through here. Let's go to points. From here, here, there, and there. I need to create a face, and let's see, by the... Yeah, it's facing downward, so I guess it knew which direction to go, which is good. Same thing on this side. Put a face on that. I don't know if I need to do... Actually, undo those two. There's a reason I don't need those two, because I'm going to do one from... Oops. Do one from here to there, catch it all in one piece, and add a face there. And that particular face is going the wrong direction, I believe. No, it's going downward. That's good. Okay, I'm good on the normals. And let me see what this thing actually looks like in some solid state, just so I can get a glance at it. I've got some pieces down here that are doubled up on the stuff. I didn't put this part of the face on. Okay, so I want these. Babylon is basically a gaming engine designed for web browsers. It's WebGL, uses HTML5, Canvas element to create the animation and everything else that it does. And it's actually a pretty cool system because it easily allows you to create objects into scenes. And, you know, it's basically a gaming engine. It's written by a guy that is a Microsoft programmer, you know, programmer for Microsoft. And... yeah, so it was a side project he did and ended up being pretty cool. So just wanted to see what it could do and, you know, build it up from there. So it allows you to create different items pretty easily and run them in a scene. And so what I did was I created kind of a whole kind of a whole environment. The idea is this. You've seen WordPress, where WordPress can allow you to, WordPress is a framework that allows you to create a website, a traditional website, very easily. If you decide you want a picture gallery, you can download a plugin. It adds the code. Now all of a sudden you got support and you can add your pictures and it shows a picture gallery on your website. If you want, anything you want, you can find it in a plugin, download it and use it. And many of the plugins are free, but then they also offer premium updates so you can make some money at it. Well, I'm taking that same concept and I wanted to apply it to gaming systems. So I created this idea of making this thing where we can add plugins directly to a gaming scene and assemble on the fly. So if you get one person, for example, that's really great at making cars, they could add a plugin that's nothing but cars. And basically you'd be able to download it, click on it, activate it in your scene. Now you can drag and drop and put them into your scenes and actually use them. So that's the concept. That's what I'm trying to build. Everything from multiplayer to doing different game functionality to the physics engines already enabled. We have a choice of 10 different avatars right now, which we can expand with a avatar pack plugin maybe or something. It has over 200 animations for your avatars, so you can customize them and color them any way you want. But the idea is to keep on building different things as plugins, and then when somebody wants to create a 3D website or a gaming site, all they have to do is load WalkTheWeb and then pick and choose between all the different plugins to get the different functionality. There'll be things you can get for free, and then there'll be things that you can enhance. So like if I was good at building cars, I might say anybody can drive the Jeep for free, but if you want an avatar to get in the passenger seat, or if you want to unlock the Ferrari and drive that, then you got to pay a fee to unlock it. Or let's say you need a subscription fee on certain things, like whatever it is. If you want to go ahead and create something and it has a subscription, that's the kind of stuff that we can create as plugins. So using this framework, we all come together. It's open source, so we can all come together, work on the open source, work on the main piece, and then what happens is we develop that to the best of its ability and keep building it. But then as it gets put on different computers, we interconnect them. So the program over here may run the scene, which is hosting the website, but yet you're going to put this building or this game from this other server, drop it right into your scene. And that's the technology that I set up. Another thing it does is when you walk up on something, it loads it, and when you walk away, it unloads it. So it gives it a chance to actually change the active elements in any scene. As you're walking down the street, it could load a store and you can go 3D shopping, for example. You could have a game next door, like, to attract people to the store, basically, or vice versa. Let's say you build a game and you want to get advertisers. You could put their store right into your game and they pay you for, basically putting your store in there. So you'd end up like, miniature golf game with a t-shirt shop next door. But the idea is to create internet cities. I want to make everything from museums, art galleries, to full-on businesses, to full-on games, to everything else, and actually just build up 3D internet by making all these connectable parts. To simplify it, what I did was I created 3 different parts. We have communities, which are your scenes. Then we have buildings, which don't have to be a physical building. Yeah, we could definitely put the add-in shop in the actual game, have a store that is, hey, look around here and check out these different things. We could do that. We can even have it where, can you imagine? We can create portals like you walk through a portal, like the old Slider show, or the, what do you call it? SG, Stargate. You could do something like that where you walk through and all of a sudden you're testing a game on somebody else's site so you can see what it actually looks like. But we could do all kinds of stuff like that where you actually just try and bounce back and forth and go from one site to another right on the internet just by walking your avatar forward. That's the concept. That's where I'm heading with all this stuff. So buildings don't have to be an actual building. It can be an area, a region of the map where you want something to be. For example, let's say it's a soccer field. As soon as you walk on, I can load the animations that you need to your avatar. We can unload them if you walk out of that area. But at the same time, it'll be there when you're in that area so you can play soccer. If you So it picks up all the extra avatar movements. In this case, when you walk into a paintball arena or something, an area defined as paintball, what's going to happen is it's going to load all the different weapons. It's going to load the different, like you're carrying a rifle instead of just walking forward every time you walk. It'll add in the animations that the avatar needs to do the job to make it all work. It'll also add in, by the time I'm done, the gameplay, anything else you need, even if it's Autobots, like there's people running around that are not really there. Or the multiplayer thing will work so other people can walk in and join also. But that's the concept. That's what I'm building. So I keep on just chiseling out these different parts. The third section, we have communities, scenes, buildings, and then things. Things are anything you want to create that you want to drop into buildings or into communities. For example, furniture, trees, avatars, vehicles, anything that you, like a bridge maybe, or anything, a statue, anything you want to build and create it in one place, but then be able to drop it multiple instances into something else. So makes it very transportable. And by putting it in those 3 layers, we're basically just saying, okay, I've got a scene here. What do I want over here? I'm going to drag, put this over here. Now I'm going to drag and put this over here. And you actually just assemble your scenes. You can also do full-on terrains. You can have islands. You can have water. You can have all kinds of stuff. And, eventually, 5 years down the road, or who knows how long, I expect we're going to have planets. You're going to actually hop in a spaceship and go to another planet or explore, find different places all over the internet. But we're going to map out the internet. Anything that has a website now, we're going to make it where they can create a 3D website very easily and maintain it. So what will happen is programmers will become rich for creating plugins for 3D gaming components. They will also be able to do things like create sites for businesses or sites for consumers. Whoever, somebody wants a game, you build a game for them. So developers are going to get very busy. Okay, so this whole program is basically JavaScript. It's all client-side JavaScript. Babylon is fully JavaScript. I wrote a PHP backend and also uses MySQL. So technically, it uses the exact same framework as WordPress. I figure anywhere that hosts a WordPress site should be able to host a WalkTheWeb site. That's where I was aiming for when I did that. So that's where it's going. Basically, all the different components, all pieces, and as we keep on building things and adding them to scenes and doing different things with it, like I said, I create things in Blender all the time, so 3D objects and different stuff, and I natively, right in here, you export them from Blender to Babylon. There's an extension you can use to export them. Once you export as Babylon, then basically I can load them directly into here. And we can create different scenes, drop them into scenes just by adding them for whatever you're working in. Like in this case, edit the community, I can just add anything from building blocks. So you can add a box anytime you want to into a scene, or spheres and stuff. You got all kinds of stuff you can do with it. Or if I come to web objects, I can do a Babylon file or all kinds of things I've already created here. Like it's as easy as this to add smoke into a scene. Thank you. Yeah, so that's very cool. No, I appreciate the questions also. And let's see here. So it's really easy to add different things into the scene. I've got different stuff here. I can also detach my avatar from the camera so that I can move around in a scene and check it out from different angles while I'm working on it. You don't have to stick with the avatar view. There's other things I've also done. For example, we already have different camera views for like first person, and it's moving around with his head. The other thing is you can go to like 3D glasses and it automatically splits. That's the cheap 3D glasses, otherwise VR headset. See, Babylon already includes these different camera views, so all I had to do was implement the camera view, and I'm able to create different things in the scenes. So, switch between the VR headsets and stuff. Now, I know for a fact that they have certain VR headsets defined in Babylon now. So I'm going to extend this list, and it'll have things like you'll be able to pick Oculus or Vive or whichever headset you actually have, and there'll be a definition already designed into the program so that all you have to do is click, boom, now it automatically has, that particular camera view. So that's the way I'm designing it. We also have things like, hey, you can look at the selfie camera and look back at yourself. You can go to a scene camera, it's a little farther back. We can adjust these things. They're starting points more than ending points. So I'm still working on some different things with that. There's also, camera view, so you can have a second scene on up here. And then basically as you're walking around, it's using both cameras. So we do have a second camera view. And there's different things I have we can turn off or on. There's also movement speed, so you can adjust how fast you walk and the distance it travels when you go. That's a precursor for me allowing everybody to even upload their own avatars. What I see things like Ready Player One, the real thing, where you can have your own avatar. He walks into scenes and then you play a game on somebody's new scene that they came out with. That kind of stuff is the things I want to create and where I'm heading with this. But yeah, so that's the kind of stuff I'm building, kind of different things I'm working with. Right now I'm going to get the smoke out of the scene. I don't need that right now. I may add that later as an effect when I get the rest of the pieces in place, so it looks like it's kind of burning. but yeah, that's where we're going. And so right now what I'm doing is I'm just creating a little section in here where I can work with the different pieces. I want to be able to have different cubby holes to hide in when I'm running and stuff for paintball. So basically you'd be able to duck and hide. Okay, that has a top. Let me see if this has a bottom piece in place. Okay, no. I'm going to now delete and remove the edge. And there's some more edges here that I need to get rid of. Oops, let me slide that down so I can see them. Okay, so let me highlight edges. This one, this one, this one, this one. Delete edges and delete edges and faces. Okay, so I've cleaned that up a little bit. I need to switch to this mode. Well, see, the truth is this. I was looking around on the internet, and what I keep finding is, for example, a lot of people are creating 3D objects in Blender or Maya or AutoCAD or whatever program they use, but they're creating all these 3D objects and they're available. I mean, I can go to a number of different websites and very easily download different things that they've created. So the thing about it is, for example, free 3D furniture, for example. This side right here, CQ Trader. This place, you can type in anything you want. Some things are free, some things cost, but it's all 3D items that you created. So now people are doing that. They're selling some of their work. Well, if you could take that easily in just a few steps, drop it into a scene, and all of a sudden be able to use it because your avatar already understands how to walk around it and sit down and do different things. Now, you could just go out there, use all these items that people are creating and that are just really awesome looking designs. You could just take them, purchase them, resize them into your scenes, put them right in there, and you're off and running. So the concept is, it's the melting pot where we put all these things together that people are building. Even on the Babylon site, people have created some really cool stuff. The thing is, there's very few full games that are completed yet. I don't know if there are some, don't get me wrong, there are some, but it usually takes a lot of hours or a lot of man work and stuff just like this to get it in there. Or woman work, I'm not implying anything, but it takes a lot of hours to get those things together. So basically, by doing this, you can combine things where one person focuses on one thing that they're good at, and then we put them all into scenes, and we can all work on creating 3D internet together. That's why I made it open source. I wanted it to be a place where everybody can go, hey, I need this in the core product, and I'll tweak it. I'll add it in, or I'll change the code, or I'll add, do whatever I need to make it work for your stuff too. So if you start a project with this, or if anybody does, then basically what'll happen is, as they need things, I'll supply it on the core product. You can make suggestions, you can send things to me. We have everything from different lighting to all kinds of stuff in here. So, but that's what we're doing. That's where it's at. Okay, and I know I keep on seeing through the wall here. Let me just go back to the wireframe mode. It's a little easier to get around and find a couple dots, a couple vertices. Okay. Okay, and I think I have all the pieces that needs. I'll find out here in a quick second. The other part is, this is just my own little thing. Whenever I create something, they always have these faces that are on the bottom facing downward like that right there. I do not need that because we're already up against the ground of the scene. I don't think there's any more. Okay. I got all those. We don't need something underneath when all it's doing is butting up against the ground. No reason to paint those faces. I'll also get rid of some top ones when I build the top layer, so there'll be some sandwiched areas in between that do not need it. Okay, and now that I have that, I'm going to just test this thing out. Show you how easy it is to take an item that you built in here. I'm going to File, Export, Babylon. Click OK. And it created this scene. Now I'll add my textures and stuff. I'm not at the level where I'm putting the textures in yet because I'll be doing some UV unwrapping and all kinds of cool stuff when I do that. So now I'm just kind of doing the layout and getting some of the main sections in. Notice it's giving me this version of it, 3D objects. I go to my Paintball arena, upload files, and oh, here's my Paintball arena. I'm in the folder already. All I have to do is copy. All I really need is the Babylon file. There's two files, Babylon and the manifest. If you did any textures, you could throw those in. I keep a copy of my Blender file too, so that if I screw anything up on my local machine, it's kind of my backup in between uploads. Click OK, and that quick, we already have it in place. The other thing you end up having to do is in settings, once it's loaded it takes a little while before it actually unloads it, but I can force that by just deleting the cached images. And now when I reload the scene, I should have a little cubbyhole building back in that corner. See, there it is right there. There we go. And when my avatar finishes loaded, now all I have to do is walk over here and check it out. See how it looks. Looks like my back wall is in the wall, so I didn't actually see the full dynamic of that section like I did on the front wall there. Okay. That's not bad though. I really don't mind that. The only thing is, of course, if that's the case, and I separate from my camera so I can walk through walls, by the way. If I look from this side, oh, it isn't through the wall, so it didn't go all the way through. That's good. Wanted to make sure I'm not messing up the wall. Okay, now it's just shadowing that way, but it actually didn't go through the wall. Nice to know. There's a little depth to the wall, by the way, so that's why it's doing that. Okay, so that's my little pass-through area. Notice I've, like I have on these areas, you can go inside and you can completely check this out. And just so you know, I've set this up with the camera views for now that you can just basically hold the mouse button down and it'll spin the camera view. And if you use the mouse scroll bar, you can move forward or backwards. Makes it real easy to get around and check out the scene when you're disconnected from your avatar. The avatar will also walk forward when you use the scroll bar and turn when you do those things. It's just that you also have the keyboard, you also have touchscreen, you also have all that other stuff hooked up for controls for the avatar. Okay, so this little corner is in place. That's a good sign. I can go ahead and start working on the next piece, whatever we want it to do. I I think I'm going to leave that solid. I was thinking about a window on this side, but I think I'm going to skip that for now. So let's go back to here and see what else we can come up with. The next piece is the part on top. I need some type of, structure around here, a little bit of something just to tie up what's going to be on the top. So first thing I'm going to do, go back to selecting it and go back to edit mode. And I'm going to start by grabbing the 4 corners and I want to take those 4 corners, create a face, and then extrude that, back up a step. I'm not going to create the face. I'm going to extrude first, hit enter, so that I have 4 extra dots there. Create the face, and then I'm going to GZ for upward, and now I've created a piece that is just the top of this as kind of a, I do have kind of a platform already there. Do I need to extend it out or do anything with it? I know, I'm making this up as I go. I kind of am. Okay, let me not do that. I don't really need to. Let's do this another way, which is select these items on top. Oops, that's not the top. That one's the top. And this one and this. Nope, not that one. This. Nope. Did I get it? Nope. That one. Not that. Not that one. Give me that one. Okay, so now I have these items here. I'm going to extrude those up, and we're going to make them go... I don't want to be too high. I want you to be able to see past the edges. So I'm going to go... let's go 6. Is that too short? Yeah. Let's go 8. You'll be able to see over the top, but it's a little bit of protection if you're standing up there. That should be enough. It looks like all my normals are facing the right direction. By the way, you can check the normals just by clicking here, and here's the normals. You can turn them off or on, and it'll show you which direction the faces are going. It comes in helpful when you go to solid mode, and then you check your normals. Because then you can see for each one of them, there has to be something sticking out in the direction that you expect to see the face. Otherwise, the face doesn't show up. So in this case, we are good most of the places, but look at here. We have this one, and this one, that one, and let me see if the back side has that. Nope, see, we've got a couple faces here that do not. That one. See, that's why we were getting some weird looks. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Spinning around here. Let's get back on ground level. Ah, it undid everything I was doing. Okay. So take this one and this one also. How are we looking on this side? Same thing. This one and this one are not the right directions. So all I have to do is highlight those, and if I click Alt-N, I can flip the normals. If you forget that it's there, you can always go down to Mesh and Normals and then Flip. So Alt-N is reminded right there. Now that I've flipped the normals on these faces, why am I not seeing them? Oh, I'm in the wall. They probably were right in the first place. Let me flip them back. You know what? I'm going to move this out of the wall because we do not want this in the wall. So if I click that, Control L, I can select everything that I've grabbed there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this out of the wall. So GX and slide it over, and I'm going to butt it up against the wall just a little bit, but not a lot. There we go. That's about where I want it. And now that's why the inside edge didn't look right before. Okay, so now I can see the normals because they're in the middle of each one of those the There's some cleanup I can do on this later on. For example, some of the time what I'll do is I'll actually take the four corners of like this big rectangle here and make it just one face instead of this piece versus this piece. So that actually helps some of the stuff with the texture layouts and things. But when you UV unwrap them, it doesn't matter as much. But of course, fewer faces, fewer, faster rendering times, fewer points that you need to track, anything like that is actually going to help in the end run. But that gives us a little bit of spot here. Now the next thing, let's see what else we can add. I'm going to create something that does this middle section here, something very tall. So I want to make some type of pass through in this, but I kind of want to make it stylish. I don't want to make just a square box. I'm going to do a little bit of something different. See if I can't make this just a neat little pass through area up on top. Yeah, so we'll go from there. I'm going to start by, let's give it some dynamic to it. Grab that, EZ, and drop it down. Let's go -3. It's a nice thick base for it. Take that. I just don't want everything to have always the exact same shape and everything, so I'm going to have some fun with this one and see if I can't make something else out of it. Let me turn back on my normals. Oh, it is on, which tells me already that this one is facing the wrong direction. And in fact, they all are. Let's get them all going the right direction here. Is the one underneath also messed up? I need to get closer. And it looks like that one. This whole thing, I'm batting 1,000 on this one. And there, and Control N. Flip the normals, now they're all facing outward, and we'd be able to see that from any direction now. There's one side that's in the wall. If I go to, I can see it right here. I can flip it, or because it's in the wall, I technically do not even need it. I can delete that face altogether. I don't want to render a face that's not even going to be seen ever. So, and I plan on leaving this one up against the wall, so there's no reason for me to, mix that up or get rid of it or anything. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add, I'm going to grab 4 points, and the purpose for doing this is I need to get the cursor in this section over here. So by, grabbing these 4 points on the bottom, I could grab the face also, and then say mesh, snap, cursor to selected. The other part is make sure this is on 3D cursor so that you're going to build things around your cursor, and it, the cursor adds things to the scene right on it. Okay, so that point is the center of that. And what I'm going to add is I'm going to add a mesh, but I want to add a cylinder. Okay, so this cylinder is going to be, first thing I'm going to do is I do not need anywhere near 32 on that. I also want it to be about, that's too big. Well, not so much. Let's go with let's go with 16. That's not too bad. And then the depth, I'm not too worried about the depth. I'm going to pull it anyway. I can go with 6 just to have some depth to it. And I'm going to rotate it the Y direction, 90 degrees. And now I can start working with it. GZ, I'm going to lower it down. I'll snap the cursor to the center of this object because I'm going to work with it. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scale the Z direction, and I want to kind of shrink it down a bit so that it's not so high. And then, let's see, are we below that area? No, not quite. Whoa, where'd it go? Yikes, I went way down low. Okay, fine. Yeah, close enough. Okay, so now that I'm looking at it from a decent angle, you know what? Let me move to this angle. I need to see when, if I, first of all, gosh, why is that doing that? I don't know what I changed, but for some reason when I go Alt-A, I'm getting some other program now or something is implying with what I'm doing. So I'm not allowed to unselect all my options right now. Oh, before I do that, here we go. This X value is this direction, and the wall itself, I'm going to make it go into the wall just like this did, right to that same point that that's at. So if I take this X direction and I now select here, I can go with that, changes to that value, and in the same way, take the front value, copy that. I can take this item. You know, I could go a little indented. Kind of makes sense that I'd go a little bit less than that. But I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to set them to this value. I'm going to subtract 10 off of that just because I want some type of, whoa, that's not where I was going. I did not get that right. Okay, fine. I'll do it manually. I'm looking at about, oh, that was the back value 80. Okay, so we want it to be, I went the wrong direction and I did 10, yeah. Okay, I went the wrong direction. It went outward instead of inward. But if I come in here somewhere around, let's just call it 88. Oops, negative 88. There's part of the problem. Negative 88 should be a nice piece. Let's see about, oh, that's way too thin. Instead of 88, we'll go 98. No, wrong direction. That's where that 78. Okay, let's go 70. Let's see what that does. 73. No. Okay, fine. Let's just do it this way. Looks like 83 is where I want it. Negative 83, that would make a difference. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now the other part is I'm going to scale, I'm going to smash it just a, well, no, I don't want to smash it. Let's just go a little bit lower. I want to make sure it's underneath, oops, Control L for everything connected. There we go. And GZ, I'm going to back it off. I want it to be underneath that other part. And we're going to do a little bit of something with this too. Make some loop cuts, add 2 of them, and scale those out the Y direction. Nope. Scale those the X direction. I'm going to make them kind of go something like, I don't want to get too close to that back edge because I'm outside the wall. And GX, so we're going to move it out this way just a little bit. Okay, somewhere around in that area. Now, the reason I did that is because I want to actually pull the section inside here. I want to make this go inside the other piece. Actually, I'm going to do another loop cut. No, back that off, sorry. Do another loop cut, and I need it to be 2, and then take those 2, scale them, scale X direction only, that helps, and make it, I'm going to move them, GX to right, inside of those other 2. Because I do that for a reason. What I want to do is I'm now going to select the vertices that are in this row, hold down Shift and Alt, and then I can get this row, and this row. So now I have just those outer edges, see, like a drum. And I'm going to make these sections actually go inward. So scale, and if I do a scale, and I don't want the X direction to change. So scale, Shift X will give me just the two directions. And now I can actually shrink these two areas out here like this so that they go smaller than the outside edge. And then I'm going to take those two areas, the outside one, actually just the outside ones, this one and this one back here, and I'm going to stretch these now. Scale, whoops, not scale. So extrude, and I'm just going to hit enter, and then I'm going to scale, Shift X, and now I can pull the outer edges wider without affecting anything else. And I just want to kind of make sure that they go up against that center thing up on top. I want it just about that distance, and what I'm looking at is, yeah, that's actually pretty good. See how I'm just like right underneath my bridge? This is going to be kind of the stylistic section that makes that all come together. So there's an indented center section of it and some rounder posts on the outside. Okay, so now that I have that, and notice that's it's right at the wall pretty much. Not too bad for the back wall. Okay, so with this piece in place, now what I want to do is I'm going to kind of line it up like this, and if I select with the box select, I can select everything below this point and delete the vertices. So now this is what I have, kind of a half-shaped moon piece underneath here. Those will be some fancy bricks by the time I texture them in the end. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to take those pieces, and I want to see about kind of designing something here. Can I loop cut this one up here? Yes, I can. And I'm going to loop cut in 3 places. And then take mesh, snap, cursor to selected, and then I want to scale in the Y direction these bumps, which are only going to take the ones that are not in the very center. So I'm going to make that go about there, and then I want to take the 4 points down on the bottom here. And it's going to be a little wider than I need. I need to split those lines, and then I'm going to be creating some different posts. See, what I'm doing is I'm actually building a curved arch underneath with some posts on the sides that'll fill in the gaps on these walls. So to do that, I need to take what I've created here and kind of merge that into a square item on this back side. So, you know, the easiest way to do that I know of is, okay, so we have this piece. I know I'm like falling off my own screen, missing my own stuff here. Okay, back up just a touch. So if I take this point and this point, just those 2 points, go mesh and duplicate. And then if I go G, oh wait a minute, let me see what the Y value is on this. Y value is this. Okay, so when I back up a couple steps here and I go GY, I can set the value to that. Then they're directly below that line. And if I duplicate these, duplicate, hit enter so they don't go anywhere, and using that exact same value, what I want to do is I'm going to make a couple points on this line, and to do that I need to know the height is 47 meters. Boy, that's very round, easy number to hit. So I have these duplicates right here, and I'm going to move them up to 47, and now I've created 4 points that help me frame what I'm working with here. So to do this now, I'll take this, actually let's go these points here, put a face on that, and now I'm very close to where I want to be. I can do some things with, here, let me go to the solid for a minute. Here's the deal. I have this design going on in here. Okay, that looks pretty cool the way it is, but I need to fill in the gap of what that didn't include. So to do that, I think the easiest way is to create a couple points that are going to help me out. For starters, I'm going to take this line in the back here and subdivide just once. Take this line, subdivide. Now it created a couple extra points for me, and if I wireframe, you know what, I don't need to worry about the back, I only need a front faceplate, so I should just get rid of that point. Never mind on that one. Okay, and if I create a face between these, oops, let's go to solid so I don't take the wrong point, and create a face there. Then I can create a face to this corner here. And then notice that one is right there. So what I want is I need to draw a line from right there to right there and actually make that meet. Another thing I can do is, you see how this is at 47? This one fell just a little shy of it. We're going to make it 47 so that the two edges actually bump right up against each other. This is going to be an edge, so I need to select these 2 points. Oops, I'm sorry. Go back to select these 2 points, click F, and it created the edge. Take the edge and now subdivide it, which will give me another point halfway down. And now I can take that point, this one, and this one, create a face, and these 4 points here, and create a face. So what I've done is I've actually bridged the gap between those 2 areas, and I've made kind of a shape out of here. It will be an interesting texture across there. I'll probably do some rock design or something to bridge that gap. But now it's in straight out 4 or 3 point different segments, which are all friendly for UV wrapping. And I can do the same thing on this side. So I want to take wireframe, take these 2 points. Before I do this one, I'm going to want the Y value, copy that, because we want to hit that when we go up there. So if I take these 2 points, mesh, duplicate, hit enter, change the Y value to this, and then I already know these are at 47 high, so I can take those 2 same points, duplicate, and oops, leave them there, go to here, 47, and now I've gained those 2 points that I need up there. Go to right there, put a face on it, and now I'm going to create from here to here a line, an edge, technical term. Split that one, subdivide that one. It gets easier as we do these, by the way. And now that I have those in place, let me go back to this other view from my wireframe so I don't grab pieces that are behind something. These four face. This one. Oops, sorry, wrong one. It's that one and that one for the face. This one, that one, and there for the face. And finally to the center, just these three, and put a face on it. Okay, so now it's closed up the top. We've created an arch with a little bit of a dynamic underneath it. That looks pretty darn good. Then finally, what I can do is by selecting the points on the bottom. Okay, if I take these points on the bottom, which I'm going to go to wireframe so I can see these back 3 points. And actually, I don't even need that one right there. There's no reason, or is there? No, there isn't. Okay, so there's no reason for me to grab that back point. We only need these points. Let me shift back to solid so I can make sure I get the right points. And I followed the traces of this bottom item here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that. I'll do one side at a time. I could extrude both sides at the same time, but because I'm kind of doing this, winging it and deciding to see if it's going to do what I want it to. Now I want to stretch this to the ground. So what I'll do is let's see, I need to extrude Z direction, and I can pull them all the way down to, should be 0 on my Z value on the right, which I can just come over here and type 0. That will then create that. Okay, and now same thing on this other side. Let me start with the wireframe so I can get these back 2 dots here. Go to solid so that I don't hit some of the wrong dots. I know I keep calling them dots. I'm sorry. I'm a web programmer. I'm used to saying .com, .this, .that. But they are vertices. Keep it in the right lingo. EZ direction. Stretch it down this way. Change that to 0. And we're on the 0 ground level. And now we've created another nice, cool section to our grid. And it's got a little bit of design to it. And notice that looks like that. I'll do some things with some textures on there so it enhances it even farther. There's all kinds of cool stuff we can do with this. Okay. Okay, so here we go, and thank you for that, by the way. Dots and points, yep, works for me. Grab the dots, edges, points, lines, whatever you want to call them, right? Okay, so grabbed a couple different areas here. We've done 2 of those different sections. And the next one I want to do is I'm going to rotate this around, move it over this way, and we're going to be building some type of object to be in this section. I may even do more than one over here. I may create one and then move it over and do another one in between or something. I don't know yet. Haven't fully decided until I start building it, and then I get kind of inspired and figure out what I'm going to create out of it. So, but I do have an empty coffee cup, so I'm going to take a 5-minute break, refill my coffee cup, and stretch my legs a couple minutes, and I will be right back. So, be right back in about 5. Okay, I'm back, and I'm not rushing you. Ooh, that tastes good. Okay. Okay, so the next section I want to work on is down over here. I'm going to get a little bit lined up. I haven't figured out exactly what this section's going to be, but I think I need some type of... I need this one to take up a little bit of space and kind of become part of the compound. It's low enough to the ground that I think it's going to be... I want it to be some type of... like off the ground, kind of trailer-ish type feel to it. I don't know. But that's what I'll do. So starting out in this section here, the easiest way to do that is if I select 4 points over here, and then mesh, snap, cursor to selected, then I'm in the center of this section here. And then that's all I wanted to do with that was get it over here. I'm going to add a cube so we have something to work with. This particular one doesn't need to be anywhere near that big. I'll figure out where exactly it's going to go and how close to the ground and everything else here in a minute. So starting off with this section here. I think we need a kind of a decent sized little box in this area. Let's see, if I go like that, I should get those bottom 4 corners. Yeah, no, I didn't. Okay. Switch to wireframe mode so we can see the 4 corners here. Yeah, why isn't it grabbing my 4 corners? Okay, fine. There we go. Set those to 0. I want them on the ground. That helps me with a little bit of a reference of where they're at. How high is this? This is 10 meters high. That gives me a little bit idea of where that is. This is already taller than it. So we're going to shrink this one down to, let's go, let's go 3 meters. Now 4 meters. It's got to be a little higher than that to make it even worth it. 4, 6 meters. Okay, there we go. Okay, for starters, select that item, mesh, snap to the cursor to selected. That'll get it there. And now what I want to do first is, I don't even care if I overshoot where these ramps are and stuff. I can delete them out of my way if it gets in the way. But I was just kind of using it as a concept idea of where to sit. So for now, what I want to do is resize this. Shift with the Z will automatically not go any taller. This needs to be about that big in that direction. Let's go 5. And if I go scale Y direction, I can make this one a little bit of a room like so. I think the best thing to do would be make it where when you run in here, somebody could be behind you or in front of you. And if I make the entrance into it right down the center, there's, you know, tuck away on different sides. If it's always one side, then you always know you could even strafe going into the room and you'd be able to catch whoever's there. So to make it a little bit more challenging, I kind of want to make these entrances go into the center of the room when they go in. So 1.6, 0.8. There we go. Let's go with a room about, oh, that's a little bigger than I need it. Scale Y 1.6. I forgot. This is going to be underneath the piece that we're building next. Take the 4 corners. And I'm going to duplicate them. Mesh, duplicate. I should remember Shift D at some point in time here. But once I've duplicated them, I want to scale those out in everything except the Z direction. And this is going to be a platform kind of feel to it, where it's a little bit bigger than what we're already sitting on. 1.05 looks pretty good. I like using round numbers when I can, because then it's easier to guess the numbers if I'm coming up on something, but it doesn't always work out that way. Okay, so now that I have those pieces there, this face, I'm going to take this face right here, and first of all, I need to see what direction it's going. There's two different pieces. They're both facing upward. I want... Technically, the face that's right there on the inside, I don't even need it because it's going to be inside the wall by the time I'm done. So then this face that's here now, I'm going to flip the normal so it's the underside of what I'm doing, so that underneath these ledges actually has a face on them. And then I will extrude and go up to Z direction only, and go up to 10. I'm just going to set that to 10 on all those points. That will get me even with the floor of those sides. Gives me a little bit of a feel here for the building. Okay, I like that design. Let's make sure that, of course, none of the sides are going the right direction. So we're going to flip all those around, flip, and then the one up on top of this is going to be the floor of our building, so I'm going to flip that upward, and now we have kind of a pedestal looking thing up here, and I can build the building from that. Let's see the next piece I want. By the way, I'm building some of these things I'm building these things where they're actually, I'm building extra doorway space and stuff, because if somebody eventually brings in their own custom avatars into here, I want to give some leadway. So I didn't like measure my height and just clear the roofs and stuff like that. I actually gave it some extra headroom going in and out of the different places. I know that we're going to have some type of standard if somebody wants to be able to walk inside of a building or inside of a structure. That doesn't mean we couldn't have like a Tyrannosaurus walking around on the outside that can't fit in the buildings. You know, we can't have Godzilla, you know, whatever it takes. But the idea is that we'd be able to create our own custom avatars and have some leadway with how we size them. So not every avatar ends up being the same size. Okay, with this section here, what I want to do is I'm going to do a loop cut. Let's see, is it going to grab this piece? Yes, it is. Nice. I was hoping it would. And I want, handful? 7 would give me, should give me some good points of reference to work with. Do I need that many? Probably be getting rid of a bunch of them if I do that. Let me go 5. That should give me just enough that I have some places I can cut into. This other direction, let's do some loop cuts this way and make that one, how much do I want this one to be? 4. So we don't line up doors from one side to the other, and I have some leadway of moving them around anyway. I think that actually, that would actually work. I'm not worried about where these points are at the moment because they're very easy to grab a loop and then move it over. For example, I want a wall to be on this side, and so if I take one point, just do some Alt and then click it with the left mouse button, notice it grabs that segment, and I can go, notice my X direction's this way, so if I say GX, I can shift that over and make it be whatever width I need for the walls. So in this case, it would be Let's go with 0.8. Ooh, that's very, very small. Never mind. 0.75. No, where'd it go? No. Oh, 7 point. Oh, no wonder. I didn't think I did that one enough. So 7.5. And let's go with 8. 8 looks pretty good to me. That means for this other side of the wall, I'll do the same thing. I'm going to move this over, GX, and slide it over this way. I slide it first only so that I know, like in this case, it ends up being a -8. But since I did 8 on this one, I already know the thickness of the wall, and if I repeat it over here, it ends up working out just fine. That also means I'm going to be doing the same thing on this side, which grab one point, grab the loop cut, GY, move it over here, and kind of make it, looks like about an 11, makes that a cube in the corner, kind of. Doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, anything close to that, it looks like 12. So if I go 12, do the same thing for this loop cut here. GY should be a -12 if I predict this right. Yep, -12. Okay, so now that gives us kind of 4 different, gives us thickness of the walls. And the other parts, I may still need another loop cut. So let's add another loop cut there. And do I want one here? Just trying to think of where I want. There's going to be a window. So that's all that is. So I can go GX, GY, move that over a little bit so that we have some thickness before the window. I might make it where somebody can hide in that corner before the window too. Okay, it's going to be about that far. This one, grab the pieces going around that direction, GY. It'll be a peak area. Like there. That looks pretty good. This one is going to be my doorway entrance, which will be at this level. Looks like an even 10. Then I have the other side of the door, which will be somewhere around that spot, which looks like 2. Okay, so nope, that isn't even close. That one's right on, this one isn't. What's the Y value? Let's just grab the Y value and make it right on. And change the Y value here to what I copied and pasted. Now it's right on. You know, when I first started doing Blender, the first thing I noticed was I didn't realize that, okay, you've got transformations, which you do these things, and you move them all over the place. But when you apply the transformation, the ending result is always whatever it's going to be sitting over here. So this is like the full object. These are working with the actual points that you're working with. Once I figured that out, boy, did this get a lot easier. Can you imagine what that was like before that? That was just crazy. You know what? I think I do want a window on this side only because I want to put one down on the outside of this edge so that it's looking out this direction. So let's do a couple more loop cuts. Let's do 2 of them. Stop there. I might just make it close to this edge like we did the other thing. And move this end of it over a little bit. So it's a good thickness. That'll be for a window, like I said, so it's not even going to be for everything. And finally, this edge, we're going to need, see, that one matches up the edge of this ramp this way. This one is just going to be about a window. So if I take this GX, kind of move it over, then we can get some type of window between this edge and this, on this side of it. The other side, There's a doorway. I don't need a window next to the door. I think I'm good with just a doorway. If somebody wants to hide there before making a run for it, I'm good with that. So that's kind of the layout of what I'm looking at. If I click Z, it'll go directly above it. And this is back towards my own building. Okay, so with that set, now if I pick the pieces that I want to stretch up, it's going to be, this is going to be including the bottom of the window. So the only thing I don't need to include just yet are the doorways. I'll do that one. Get this one. That's going to be a doorway. That's a doorway. There's no doorway on this side. There we go. And then we have doorway there. And that should do the pieces that we want. So now that I have them in place, if I do E for extrude in the Z direction, actually it didn't click right. Let me do it again. EZ, and we raise the walls. This will be to the bottom of the window, so this should be, oh, what's the bottom anyway? We're looking at from 8 to bottom of the window should be, I want to say 10. No, a little less than that. Let's try 17. Or is that? That's too high. 15. You know what? You know, this is one of those things that I want to make sure we get it about the right height. Wait a minute. Do I have... Oh, that's interesting. I like moved some of them and not others. That is really interesting. Some of these moved up and some of them did something else. So I'm going to back up. Oh, it grabbed the bottom and top of the objects. Okay, that would explain it. Yeah, let's not do it that way. Now that's why I did it. Okay, we'll switch. No wonder it looks so weird. Okay, now I'm just grabbing the ones I want, which are going to be these. Gotta say, it looked really weird when I stretched it up. Everything was coming up in the wrong places. Come on, select it. I can move it if I need to. Let's get the ones closest to this side, and I'll just spin this. Yeah, that's why you go back and forth between solid and wireframe. Okay, I grab those things, EZ, and lift them up, and that's what I was expecting to do. Okay, this is going to go to, let's say, about... That's why it looked so weird when I was bringing up the height. It just was two different levels that I was bringing up. Okay, so if I go to... Let's go to 17. No, that's 27. Oh, I'm stretching it. That's why I was doing that. Okay, 17 should be, I like 18 better. Okay, then what I want to do is exclude where I'm going to put a window. So there's going to be a window there. Is that two pieces or one? Okay, fine. Something's going on weird. Oh, I'm selecting dots. I'm sorry. Okay, let me back up a couple steps here and switch it over to this. Now I can grab the pieces I want, leaving the windows undone. Do I want another window on this side? I want a window on this side. I don't want on here. You know what? I'm going to put one there too. Give it a little area to shoot out. That should be enough. And now I'm going to raise it to the top of the... It should be a ways higher here. So let's go to what I'm going to consider the top. So extrude, Z direction, and bring those up to, let's see, 30 would be 22. Yeah, actually that's pretty good. Let's go 12. And there we are. Now we have that piece in place. And some of these places are going to have roofs and other places aren't. This particular one, I'm thinking, what do I want to do? Well, we know we're going to have a ceiling on the inside. That part's for sure. So if I take these 4 inner points, create a plate, flip it upside down, then we have our ceiling. Now, there'll be some little areas here above the windows, but I'm going to end up doing something special with the window textures anyway, so I needed those separate. But now, well, let's do them real quick because they're a lot easier to do now than afterwards. Okay, it picked up that the face was going to be downward. That's good. Do these 4 points, face these 4. I'm basically just completing the tops of the windows. It was easier to do the ceiling while I was at that point than to try to get back to the ceiling afterwards. Too many points get in the way. This way, if I'm building from ground up, it becomes really easy to find where the points are on the surface of the level I'm currently working. So, okay, so those are the door frame pieces. Now I need to create from here an underledge of like a ceiling piece, I guess. Well, how do I want to do it? I got to really think this through. What if I got a better idea for the design. Let's get some architecture in here. I'm gonna take that and that, delete those out of there, faces only. Grab the edges, get rid of the edges too on a couple of these. Not that. That one, that one, that one. No. Okay, delete those faces first and rotate this in a direction where it understands where I'm clicking. And that one and nope. Oh, it is the full thing. Okay, delete those edges only. Now, is it gone? Nope, there's one more. Delete edges. And we still have some over here too. Delete edges. Delete edges. Okay, clean that up a bit. Okay, what I'm thinking. Now, by the way, I don't have to worry about this block in here. That's not going to be an issue because there's 2 different pieces here. Let me get the face of each one of these. Let's go to faces. That's the piece underneath the one I'm currently working in, I think. Nah, I don't know which one's which. If I take this, I know how to figure out which one's which. If I take off 2 points there, go GZ, I could raise them up, then I'll know which ones to get rid of. And take this face, no. This face, switch to points, remove that one and that one, GZ, make that go up, Same thing for this middle point. I don't know which points they are. They're mixed in with the other stuff. So take remove that and that and whatever else I picked up here. Okay. Okay, I got it. Okay, and then GZ on that. What I'm doing is I'm just picking up this area so I can see what it is. I didn't mean to do all. See. Okay. Don't know what I did, but somewhere down the line I picked up something that is probably running on my desktop or who knows what, but it has Alt-A trapped. So now every time I try to release everything on my desktop, I drop it. So I'll have to look at what apps I've loaded recently and see if I can figure out which one's doing that. But if I switch to solid now, I can easily see this one, oops, not that one, that one. Well, let's do this another way. Grab this edge, and basically, I don't want to delete that edge. Let's do this one. Delete, vertices only, boom, gets rid of the middle pieces. Now I have just the pieces on the outside edges, which are fine. Oh, it got rid of half my ramp over here. You know what? Get rid of it. And delete vertices. That gets rid of that. And this one, and that one. Delete vertices. And finally, this piece here. The way it goes down in there, I pretty much have that figured out. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll connect it when we're ready by making some stairs and stuff to get into here. Okay, so working with this building, I'm kind of thinking we need some different shape to make this kind of stand out. So the thing I want to do is I'm going to make it where it covers this piece from here, there to there for our roof, our ceiling. Alt-N for flipping that, and the same thing with this one. Face, and then Alt-N to flip that. That will give us 2/2 of a room. I'm going to leave a little open area in the center here, and then raise the ceiling of the centerpiece so that it's like some type of peak thing over it or something. Trying to remember to use some design in here like I did the arch back there. Kind of just trying to leave some different architecture so not everything is always the same thing. This project, I'm releasing it out little pieces at a time. I haven't set that up yet, but I'll release it today. I'll make sure I get all the stuff I'm working on so that you can actually download this piece I'm working on, even the Blender. I'll put it out there so everybody can get to it. I'll add it to my GitHub site later on today. But I'll add it. Okay, so then yeah, then you'd be able to pull up the thing that I'm working with and even change it up yourself or try different things with it. But yeah, I'll drop it out there. I like that idea. Okay, so take 4 points here. And if I extend those out, let's duplicate them. Mesh duplicate. And I don't want to move them around. Did I have them selected? Nope, I don't think I got it right. Okay, 4 points, mesh duplicate, and leave them right where they are. That's why I click the right. And now from there, I want to mesh snap cursor to selected, and I'm going to scale these points out. Actually, I don't want to scale all directions. Let me undo that duplicate for a second. I'm going to move my cursor first and snap it to that area. I think I can, oh well. mesh, snap, cursor to selected. And now that I have that line, now when I scale, it'll only go away from that line, and that's kind of what I want to do. So I don't want to make that edge change. So that's why I did what I did. Okay, so now if I take those 4 points, go back to duplicating them, duplicate, moving them all over the place, keep them in their place, scale without Z, and no, that's not working. Ah, that's working because I'm in the same Z axis, so it's not going to scale that direction anyway. Okay, so I want to bring that out about, let's see, 1.1. That'll be something I can copy on the other side. Okay, now I have these points, and I'm going to take, do I want one piece across the top, or no? I want 4 pieces here to there and there, face, and those 4 points. This is my underside of these edges, which they're already facing down, so it knew that's what I was doing. And finally, I can take these 4 points. We're going to make this a rooftop, face, and then extrude Z direction, and we bring that up, which will give us, let's see how high, let's go 2. It's a nice block for a roof. Okay, now do the same thing for this side. For some reason, it's always easier to do it the second time. So select both those, mesh, snap, cursor to selected, add 2 more points to it. If I could ever remember, the duplicate is Shift-D. I always get like Alt-D and stuff. I always throw myself off on that, but Shift-D, right click so it stays in the original places, and scale, and bring that out to 1.1 is what we did on the other side. Now using those points, I can create the top of the face, kind of like under the eaves kind of feel to it. There, face, and now 4 corners. Create a face and extrude Z direction, make that a 2, and we have 2 even sides. That's kind of cool to be able to run through, get a little bit of open air in the center. And just to do it, I'm going to create some type of archways over the doors, even the open air area. I still want to do some type of archway around them so it has a little bit of a feel of that. And the way I'm going to do that is if I take these 4 points, not that one, set the cursor. Biggest thing, it took me the longest time when I first learned Blender. Remember to put your cursor where you want it. Make sure you select this as your tool so that your pivoting point is your cursor. And then from there, just using that in to transform to put the points right where you want them to be and everything. Once I got those parts down, no problem. Everything became easy. So what I'll do is I'm going to create, on the spot, I'm going to add a cylinder. And I'm going to rotate it 90 in the Y direction. And that looks pretty good. No, I'll be extruding outward. I need to size this down to, let's go to 14. Yeah, less than that. 12. This is going to be the opening, by the way. So 11. Yeah, 11 looks good. I want it to overlap a little bit. I don't want it to be the full thing. And then I'm going to stretch this out, depth to, let's go farther. Think about there. What's that? 52? And now that I have that piece, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and let's see what I want to do here. I'm going to do this way. It's going to be a little tricky. You know something? Actually, I can make this a lot less difficult if I take where it's at right now and then I go G, Z, and I raise it, let's say 20, because then I can lower it 20 and put it right back on the top after I'm done. It's a lot easier than trying to manipulate it while those other points are all in place. So now I'm above everything else, and I should be able to select the points that are the lower half of this. Like that. And make sure that they're, yeah, that's all the lower half points. Delete those vertices. Oh, I forgot a step. Almost forgot. Before you delete all the vertices, you got to kind of do the loop cuts. Otherwise, sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. If I start moving them out of position or anything like that, then it's definitely not going to. I'm thinking 2 on the end and 1 in the center, or just 2 on the end. Let me make 2 entrances with an open in between them. That kind of works. And I'm going to mesh, snap, cursor to selected, and scale, X direction. Make them about, oh, that big. Works for me. And now I want to take out the bottom half of the points. I know I can't have it touching the other thing. Should have gone just a little bit higher. Probably would have made my life easy. Oh, there we go. That's even easier. There we go. Because now I can go halfway like that. And I can do a box cut, which gets this half pretty easy. And they're all highlighted. Delete vertices. They're gone. And then the final thing I'm going to, well, the next piece I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the center sections. I don't want these. So that will get all the pieces. Now, see, there's one. And that'll get all the pieces going up and over. Delete the faces. And now I got to grab those edges and get rid of those. And delete the edges. Okay, so now I have 2 pieces that I'm going to work with. And finally, I'm going to take and let me lower them all. Let's get them all selected here. Take all the points. Well, actually, we have it all selected and everything else. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click extrude, and I'm going to bring, nope. Better, I know what way to do it. So you click extrude, hit enter so it doesn't go anywhere, then hit scale and pull it outward. Actually, scale, I need to hold X position where it is. So then they're only going, whoops, that's the wrong one. Sorry, scale Y direction. Now it will pull this way. It didn't scale Z drag. That's why. I need to, oh, it's, I know why. Scale Shift X, and now it goes those 2 directions at once. I can make these blocks the way I want them, which are something like that. And finally, if I click Control L, I highlight everything connected, and I can do GZ and do -20, and we're right back on the top of the building where we started. And now I have some type of stone archways over the top of this building. Pretty cool, huh? And if I switch back to solid view and unhighlight something here, let me just put it over there for a second. Now we have a little bit of a design thing. That's kind of cool. Gives us a big archway right through the walkway of that building, and next we can add some stairs and stuff. But yes, that actually takes it through those pieces. Okay, I like the way this is looking. I like it. For now, okay, if I take this section right here, extrude the Y direction. For now, I'll probably change this up, but for now I'm going to give it a little bit of a ramp so we can get into it. Switch to the point view. I only want to get these points around this edge. Oh, come on. It never grabs that right. Oh, because it's this full object, by the way. Okay, so if I grab the face here, grab just that one, and then if I go GZ, I can make it where it's a little bit of a step and then a incline. There we go. And now we have a way in. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a way in yet. I don't plan on leaving. I may leave one of those. I don't know. I'll think about if I want to leave the ramp there or not. But the idea is to have a ramp in one area, have stairs on another side, maybe a ramp up this way. I don't know. I'll play around with that as we do it. But for now, that's not too bad. So today we've added three different pieces onto the puzzle. We're making it look a little more, like I said, I was inspired by this design. I really like what that did. But I'm going to be doing some stone, rock, cement walls. Some walls are going to be, like this stuff is, where some are going to be the worn wood. Other things will be some shingles on top. I don't know. We'll do some stone roofing. We'll do all kinds of cool stuff when we get to the point where we're doing all the different textures and everything. But for now, that's doing pretty good. We're adding up our different buildings. I really don't want to just copy and paste a building to the other side, so we'll have some type of things where they don't necessarily match up, and we'll move some things around. We'll rotate some of the, a building on a different angle so that they're not identical. I don't know. We'll play around with the designs of this stuff. I'll keep building out this whole section until we have a full scene to be working with, and I'll keep on adding pieces to it. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Let's go ahead and export this as, well, first of all, just so you know, there was a different save function from when you're in editing an item to when you're in the main area. So I saved both of those. File export to Babylon. Go ahead and do that. And from there, we can go into our scene, settings, clear the data, and oops, here we go. From here, media library, 3D objects, paintball arena, this, and I'm going to select the paintball arena. Open. Okay, so that gives us the new updated version there, and when I reload this page, because I did clear the cache, and where is it? There we go. There's our new building. Yay! It looks like I got all the faces right. That was the piece I was really thinking about when I did it. I wanted to make sure. That's seeing the arch from the other side. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a little run over here. Bring it up this way. And we can walk up the ramp now. Go inside. I think this is looking pretty good from in here. We have some good sized windows. I was going to check the height on the windows. See, they work out pretty well because the rifle can go right out at a natural position in front of you, and yet your head has plenty of room to see. So that worked out pretty well. Going over to the corners. And of course there'll be some steps here by the time I'm done. Gravity works. That's always good. Okay, so there we are. We have that piece of the building. We've added quite a few little pieces today. And my promise for this new year is I'm going to be streaming some longer hours. Usually I do about 2 hours, and I decided I'm going to start doing longer hours. But the only thing is, today I can't. I promised somebody some coding, and so I'm going to go take care of that and see if I can't get that in place. But I will be on back I'm on most days, and I'll be working on continuing in this scene. I will post this scene out on my GitHub site, so you can check out the different projects that I have going on in there and different pieces of things I've created. I'll create a section specifically for Blender creations, 3D models. That's what I'll call it, probably 3D models. And I'll drop out the Blender code so people can check on the different items I'm making and, see what they, play around with it themselves. But yeah, no problem there. But I want to thank you for watching and also for following. It's been a pleasure. We've done another cool day here of creating items in Blender, adding them right into our WalkTheWeb and walking around with our scenes. So making the scenes. Got to get the rest of the Paintball functionality in place. And during the week, I'll be switching back and forth between coding the avatar movement, the firing so that we can, run with loading the avatar animations and making sure he can run with the rifle in his hand, which, by the way, I have already created the rifle, so we're in process on that stuff. But we'll switch between making it shoot, because we haven't done that yet. We're going to be marking our targets where it hits, every little piece here. We're going to be doing all the different parts, and eventually we'll get it where we're doing all the rules for playing the game, capture the flag, or when you get hit, respawning. We'll just keep on working our way through it until it's done. So each and every part of this, we'll keep on adding on it. But thank you for watching, and I really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow.